Hello, everyone, and welcome to Baron's Den for some very, very exciting Blood Bowl news. It feels like it's been a long time coming, but we finally have some news about a new edition of Blood Bowl. I've just been driving home from work and I saw something pop up on my phone, so I know that it's a new edition and I know what it contains. But after that, I don't really know a lot. So I'm just as eager to see this to find out what's going on with this new edition of Blood Bowl. There's a short video which I've had to mute just in case there's music that I can't use, and then I believe there's an article underneath. So let's watch the video first. Oh, they look like Bretonians. Blood Bowl comes to Bretonnia. Skeletons. And the Tomb Kings, they're here. Look at those models. Beautiful. So we've got knights in different positions by the look of it. We've got a very familiar looking Tomb King team. Fabulous. Well, it was a short and sweet, but we got what we needed. Let's see what the article says. So, the year 2505, the place, the rolling green fields of Bretonnia, or perhaps the shifting dunes of Nehekara. The game, Blood Bowl. That's right, sports fans, the game of fantasy football is back with a new season. It brings 2 new teams to begin with. Smart rules updates and roster changes that will shake up team selections across the board. Written by Blood Bowl fanatics for Blood Bowl fanatics. This is the definitive edition of the game. It will shake up the meta, and keep even the hoariest veterans on their toes. That's interesting, isn't it? See, I love this, but that is going to upset players. I just know it. Players don't like you messing with their teams. It will shake up the meta. So that does mean some significant changes if it's going to shake up the meta. Comes in an all-new box set loaded with everything you need to play, including 2 new teams, a hardback rulebook, dice, accessories, and a pitch. So that is very much like the current edition, but obviously lovely new shiny illustrations, and of course the new teams. I've got to say, the knights look perfect. And I never got to make a speculation video, and I never got to make a video addressing the rumours, because I was going to, and then I just thought, you know what, I'm not going to add to the discourse on these rumours when there was no official leaks. It was just, he said that, she said that, he said that there was going to be a new edition of Blood Bowl, and there was going to be bigger pitches, and there was going to be Bretonians and Tomb Kings in the starter box set, and there would be no other teams, or not no other teams, they would be getting rid of some of the teams from the previous edition. And I just thought, you know what, I'm not going to address those, but I did put comments in several places that I was not surprised when Bretonians were rumoured, and I've put it on some of my speculation videos in the past. I thought they were dead cert to return at some point, and I think because they were changed from Bretonians to Imperial Nobility, everyone just thought, right, that's it, they won't bring Bretonians back now. But Bretonnia is such a huge aspect of the Warhammer world which Blood Bowl is based on, and with them bringing the old world back and Bretonnia being front and centre there, they're in Total War, Warhammer 3. They're just a big part of that world. And I just thought, when you're looking for inspiration for a new team, you'd be crazy not to consider Bretonnia. And yes, just because they're bringing it back doesn't mean they were going to bring back the Bretonnia from Blood Bowl 2, because it's got to be remembered, that wasn't I don't think it was a Games Workshop creation. I think that was a Cyanide creation, which Games Workshop were okay with and they signed off on, but they'd always have the opportunity to create their own version. They did it with the Khorne team, so I'm not surprised to see them back. I'm more surprised actually that Tomb King's in the starter set, because the traditional Tomb King team isn't the easiest to pilot for new players. So we'll have to see what they've changed, but certainly not surprised Bretonnia are here, and I do think that means that teams like that I've said before, like Cathay and Kislev, will come later down the line, because people like human-based teams. They do like the different variety, and as long as there's variety between those teams, I think they're great, and they can all add something different. And all 3 of the teams I've just mentioned are on the Fumble Secret League as well, so there's definitely room in the creative world for them to be put in. That didn't make much sense, but let's get on with this then. So let's start with the teams. The Breton Barons, named after me, from Fair Bretonnia, take on the Nehekara Nightmares, the truest veterans of the sport, in an old world rematch with a markedly different vibe. So it says old world here, but that's in reference to the edition, because technically Nehekara isn't in the old world; it's south of the old world. But obviously Bretonnia is very much so. But they were the two launch teams of Warhammer: The Old World, Bretonnia and Tomb Kings. Teams, I mean armies. So yeah, it's a nice parallel that they've decided to launch season 3 or the third season with those two teams. The Bretonnians are totally new to the tabletop. Exactly, that's my point. They are totally new. Bretonnia have always been a cyanide creation on Blood Bowl 2 that were then the NAF presented the rules for, so you could use them in some tabletop tournaments, but never official Games Workshop. Dauntless knights with a haughty attitude and high armour, attended by scrappy squires looking for a brawl. Peasants need not apply. So there's no peasants in the team. They've got squires and knights, and it says Dauntless Knights, so I don't know if that means all the knights have Dauntless. We'll have to see. The Tomb Kings, meanwhile, are back from the dead with a familiar roster. Yeah, it did look like it was as was. They've been playing for thousands of years, after all, in which all 4 positionals return almost exactly as you remember them. Wow, there it is. New pitch. That's a good-looking pitch. I like it. Very clear. They've obviously listened to player feedback. Very good. They've got a small logo in the middle. They've got the squares clearly defined. That is a good box. I like the paint scheme here. Very nice. These are very traditional Bretonnian colours. Is that Brion colours as well? Because they are the Brion Barons, or is that Carcassonne? I don't know. Alongside the new teams, the new season box set contains everything else you need to start playing. A sturdy double-sided board and dugouts, 2 sets of dice, quick reference sheets, and a chunky hardback rulebook, including rejigged rosters for every team in the game. Yes. This in-your-face rumour people who said they were going to get rid of any teams. Look, for every team in the game. Yeah? You wouldn't add that in if you were going to off some of the teams from the last edition. Yeah? They did it with 2020. They had any team they'd released up till then in the rulebook. And they're doing the same again. That is fantastic news. There's a plastic sprue containing the usual range ruler and templates, and a new one which includes a clever ball marker for your players to stand on, and some new status markers to indicate who's prone, stunned, blitzing, and so forth. Now, if you don't want to lay your lovingly painted players on the pitch, you don't have to, but you can still if you like. Oh, and here we go. Here's some of the players. So these look like the squires, probably the linemen. There's a knight here with a ball, so is he are all the knights the same? Are they like Black Orcs, or is this a throwing knight? Yeah, so we look like we've got a blitzing knight, a catching knight, and a throwing knight, so... Oh, the knights in positionals, that'd be cool if they were, and then these, possibly the linemen. Look at that dude with his helmet. Very nice. And there's the ball tokens. So that's the Bretonnians. The Bretonnian team is a classic high-risk, high-reward team with powerful abilities. 2 Grail Knights are the key players, hard-hitting blitzers with a new skill. If they are ever about to be knocked down, steady footing lets them keep their footing and stay standing. Interesting, on a roll of 6. So I reckon these are the Grail Knights then, aren't they? So they're the blitzing-looking ones, and they've got the most impressive regalia. Steady footing, so they don't go down. So if you get a POW, because they'd be about to be knocked down, they can stay on their feet on a 6. And would that be the same for dodging out of a square and for rushing? That's really good if that's the case. I know it's a 6. It's kind of like reverse foul appearance, isn't it? It's a 6, which means you don't go down. But it's better than foul appearance, really. Because foul appearance, they'd still have to, if you fail it, they've still got to block you and knock you down. I like that. I like that a lot. They're backed up by 2 knight throwers and 2 knight catchers. So yeah, we are going to get positional knights. That's really cool. Capable players who pair pass and catch respectively with nerves and steel. Oh, I thought they were getting pass and catch together then when it said that. That's a bit awkward wording. What it means is the throwers have got pass and nerves and steel, and catch and nerves of steel. So that nerves of steel is representing the cool confidence of a knight, which fits them thematically. Pass and nerves and steel, catch and nerve. That's going to make them quite powerful at the throwing game. Obviously, depending what their agility is. You'd imagine their agility would be 3+, but They are Grail Knights, so maybe they'll go 2+. There's no big guy, but Dauntless takes care of that. Finally, Squires bring Wrestle and a can-do attitude to the party. That sounds like a deluxe team to me. You know, more expensive, quite skilled team. I suppose their stat line, if they're a human stat line, that would make them less impressive, which they probably will have. But your Squires having Wrestle, that's not bad, is it? And by the look of them, they're not going to be your Armour 8+ players. They look like they'd be Armour 9+ to me. Very interesting. No big guy. I'm happy about that. That does not fit Bretonnians thematically. They don't have ogres. They don't have those big guy archetypes within their theme and their lore. So I'm glad that they haven't got one. Here the Tomb Kings. Look at these guys. So they look like Tomb Guardians. They said that the team hasn't changed much. So is that a blitzer or just a skeleton? Tomb Guardians. We got throwers, anointed throwers or throwers. If you're going further back, that looks like another Tomb Guardian. Another Tomb Guardian. No, they look like the skeletons. So let's go back. That would be a blitzer, I think. Yeah, so those are the blitzers. That's a good looking team. I like it. I like it a lot. Oh, that marker's cool. Look at this little sphinx with the ball. Love it. The Tomb Kings will be familiar to seasoned coaches. Availably bashy teams with up to 4 Strength 5 Tomb Guardians with Brawler. That's new. How do you make Tomb Guard even better? By giving them Brawler? That's going to really help. I mean, for a big guy to start with Brawler, that's really useful. Obviously, block is better, but no big guy starts with block. And, you know, often people put Brawler on a big guy because it's more easily accessed than block. So to start with it is really useful. Backed up by 2 blitzers, 2 throwers, and suitably durable skeleton linemen. Well, that's not the Tomb King team of old, because skeleton linemen are not durable. So I don't know if they've just misspoken there or if they've improved the armour of skeletons, but skeleton linemen in the in the Team of Legend and back in the before times, they're only armour 8+, I think. So they're not great. The big guys are tough, but decay will still get them in the end. And all those skeletons retain their thick skulls. Okay, so that hasn't changed and that hasn't changed. They still have lower agility stat than most, but this minor downside is less of an issue these days with the secure ball action, which we will explain below. So not a skill, an action. Speaking of the rules, they've been lovingly reviewed, curated and revised for the 3rd season, and that's cause for celebration. The core game is exactly the same. The pitch hasn't magically grown any new squares. Yes, good. That was another rumour that obviously was false. So this is why I didn't talk on the rumours, because obviously clearly some of those were false. They haven't got rid of teams. They haven't put in bigger pitches. But the Bretonnian Tomb King one was spot on. There are new stats, and everything should be very familiar. That's good. We didn't want a complete overhaul. Like I said, I appreciate when they make tweaks to teams to change things up a bit, but we don't want any fundamental rule changes or things getting added to what is, in my opinion, already a pretty damn good game. It's all been extensively rewritten for clarity. Terminology is familiar but consistent. There's never any confusion between players, your miniatures, and coaches yourself, or declaring and performing actions. All of this has been done to make the playing experience as smooth as possible, without losing any depth or the magic of Blood Bowl. The kickoff table has been improved. Cool. No more officious refs. I wasn't ever bothered about officious refs, but that's fine. Wildly inaccurate passes no longer apply, and you can even now earn star player points for throwing your teammates and being thrown. So in my future of Blood Bowl, what I'd want in the future of Blood Bowl, those are 2 things that I asked for, so I'm pleased for that. There's even a new keyword system that makes it much easier to standardise interactions. That's cool. Just going back to wildly inaccurate, I never said they necessarily needed to get rid of it, but I'd like them to have changed it so it deviated from the ball you're throwing to. Excuse me. Not the ball you're throwing to. That doesn't make any sense, Baron. The square you're throwing to, as opposed to the square the player is in. There are very few major changes, but the aforementioned secure the ball action is one. Right, let's find out what this is. This works a bit like a blitz or a pass. It's a once per turn action that lets you gather the ball on a 2+, and then end your turn. There are caveats, of course. You can't take the action if there's a standing opponent within 2 spaces, while big guys and certain other powerful players aren't able to perform it at all. But this innovation definitely mitigates the frustration of low agility teams who sometimes struggle to get the ball in hand. Okay, so that's really interesting. So it's a new action. I'm assuming it's once. So yeah, once per turn, a player can have a go at securing the ball on a 2+. Now, I'm assuming this isn't replacing picking up the ball. And the reason that's got to be the case is if you can't do this while there's not an opponent within 2 spaces, can you imagine if that is the only way to pick up the ball now? As soon as that ball was to pop out in the middle of the pitch, no one would ever be able to pick the damn thing up because there's players everywhere, isn't there? So I'm assuming if you move into a square that the ball is in, you're still able to roll to pick it up on your agility. But this is just an additional way to collect the ball, particularly if it's just been kicked to you, and that really helps because the amount of times when you lower agility teams fail on picking up the ball and another team can swoop in and just steal it off you and run off with it before you've even had a chance to play. That I like that. I do think that's good. The key bit here will be, well, big guys and certain other players. So if it's just big guys, that's good because I don't think big guys should be. I mean, everyone's going to be getting their big guys on the ball then, aren't they? And just muscling their way through. But it's certain other powerful players I'm not sure about because let's take Saurus, for example. It'd be really cool if Lizardmen could now ball carry with Saurus. They're not dodging away, but they might not have to. They might be able to block and blitz their way through, and it might be an easier way to get star player points on some of those Strength 4 players, so such as your Chaos Warriors. Well, no, Chaos Warriors have decent agility, but your Big Uns, your Black Orcs, your Ulfwereners, all those players who've got low agility, if they can score the ball on the 2+, they might be able to accrue star player points more quickly. Of course, those might be those certain other players that they indicate, so we'll have to wait and see on that one. But I like the sound of it. It's always difficult without having to play it through, but I can't see that being game breaking, really. It's a case of, I suppose, are there some dangerous players out there that, would be. I mean, Amazon blockers can already pick up the ball and pretty easily in their strength 4, and they can get block and dodge quite easily. So a blodging strength 4 who can pick up the ball fairly easily is already in the game. I know, before anyone says, I know that they don't start with block, the blockers, but they can pick up that skill pretty easily. Right, let's carry on. Oh, look at these. So these are the markers that come with it. What on earth is chomped, dodgy snack, distracted, and eye gouge? Are these new skills? I mean, chomped could just be. Is that for vampires? Is it for always hungry? This is interesting. Ooh, exciting. Could be getting new skills, or these could just be markers for existing skills. Anyway, status markers come in fetching shade of metallic grey, but if you'd like to paint them, these are the colours suggested in the rulebook. Okay. Status markers are another innovation that just make the game smoother. Previously, it was actually quite hard to tell whether a player was prone or stunned, or whether they'd already taken their turn. Many people laid them face up or down, or turned them around to indicate activation, but with bases getting bigger, it all became quite confusing. The status markers change all that, and you can now clearly mark every blitz, knockdown, and more. Most of these status effects should be familiar, but some are new. Distracted is now the catch-all term for players who are standing but have lost their tackle zones, including bonehead ogres or players hypnotised by vampires. Chomped is inflicted by the revamped monstrous mouth skill. Ooh, revamped. While the new eye gouge skill prevents a player from offering assists. Dodgy snack is the result of a kickoff event. So there's a mixture of new things, and then distracted isn't a new skill, but it's a way to show that your player's lost its tackle zones. So I'm two minds about this one. This is the first thing that I've read which I'm like, I'm not sure about, because whilst it is true that it is difficult to see sometimes, I'm worried that having to place these all the time would really slow your game down. You certainly wouldn't want to do it every time you activated a play. It's just much easier to turn your play around. I wouldn't want to play something down every time. But the other ones, fair enough. Is there a foul one? Foul one's always useful as well, because you can only foul once, can't you? Look at that. Very nice. I'm really looking forward to this box set landing. Oh, there's the spikes. The new season will be released later in the year alongside 2 spike journals for the new teams, as well as new boards, dice and cards. We'll touch on the rest of the rules changes in a comprehensive article soon, including the new skills. And so we haven't forgotten the High Elves. There will be PDF rules available at launch for coaches with the classic team in their collection, but this will be updated in due course, so we're getting High Elves as well soon. Well, everybody, that is very exciting, isn't it? Is there anything we can glean from this? Even not really at the moment. There's no star players or anything on the front of that, but that is very interesting. Well, I didn't think this day was going to come in the end, after all of the preview shows that we've had, where Blood Bowl wasn't featured. We haven't had anything for a year, but this certainly makes up for it. I like this. Has got the this has got more of a classic vibe to it with the checks in the end zones. Yes. Well, that's a lot to digest. I've had to make this video very hasty as I've got back from work. So what we'll do is, if another article doesn't drop tomorrow, we'll start perhaps unpicking the 2 teams and what we expect to see on them in a few speculation videos down the line. But there we have it. New news. New Blood Bowl edition. When the big headlines for me is, we're not losing any teams. We're gaining Bretonnians, Tomb Kings and High Elves. They've confirmed High Elves down here that the PDF will be there at launch, but they'll be updated soon. So that puts to bed some of the people were talking about Sea Elves instead of High Elves. I'm like, I wouldn't rule out Sea Elves as such, because you could do a Sea Elf team, but there was no way they were going to retire High Elves. I mean, High Elves are one of the key factions of Warhammer. You're not going to not see them represented in Blood Bowl. It was just ridiculous. What other takeaways have we got? The Wild Inaccurate's gone. Woohey! We've got some new skills, tweaks to rosters, but no big fundamental changes. The pitch size isn't getting bigger. It's all great. I'm loving the sound of this, and I can't wait to find out more. So, if any more news drops, I will of course try and keep you updated. And yeah, something to really look forward to at the end of the year. Now, what did it say? What was the wording? Let's get this right again. It said, further down, here we go. The new season will be released later in the year. So, okay, good news, bad news. Good news is it's definitely going to be before Christmas, which is only a few months away. The bad news is it could be October, because sometimes things are revealed and then a month later it's released, or at least gone on pre-order, or it could be like early December. So there's quite a big potential gap between when this could come about. Later in the year doesn't suggest the next month to me. It does suggest more of a November release, which is handy because that's when my birthday is, so I know what I'm having for my birthday. Wonderful. Well, if you're a Blood Bowl fan, hopefully you've seen this news and you're equally as excited as me. So don't forget to comment and tell me what you're thinking about how things look. Is there anything you're excited about? Anything you're worried about? Please like the video, and don't forget to subscribe to find out more about what's going on with this new edition as the news drops. Okay, thank you very much for joining me, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye for now.